where Buck was planning to, again uh, capture Krishna between its beaks and kill Krishna. So we left basically Krishna at that junction. We didn't complete the pastime. So we'll just complete the pastime, and but before that, we will just recite this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which we also recited the previous time, which is actually very important. It was very interesting actually. I included this verse because I was reading something else and I came across this verse and relevant, found it very relevant, and therefore included it in the discussion. And it was again interesting that this verse was taken up again by someone else mentioned the same verse. And so we'll just recite this again, maybe stressing the importance of this verse in our lives. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam 1.6.21. Hantasmin janmani bhavan mamam drishtam miharati avipakva kashayanam dudarshoham kuyoginam. The Lord spoke, O Narada, I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in service and who are not completely from all material taints can hardly see me. So we have to again remind ourselves that our goal should be pure devotional service. So it is explained that Narada was at the stage of bhava, which is the penultimate stage from prema, but still he didn't have the opportunity to see the Lord because there was still some faint material taints that were remaining in his heart. And Lord asked him to perfect his devotional service and then be able to enjoy the Lord's darshan constantly. So we have to be again mindful and also remind ourselves again and again about this goal of pure devotional service so that we can achieve the perfection of this human form of life. It is so rare, so rare. We time and again read this, and even amongst our human society, we see not everyone is fortunate. Even though sometimes people are in religious groups, still they are not experiencing the real joy of being in a religious institution because of our material conditionings. So it is very, very important that we understand what we have been given by Srila Prabhupada in the form of this dynamic Krishna consciousness and make the best use of it and try to perfect our life as much as we can. So we began this pastime of Bakasur by saying that this was actually again a curse by a sage to the demon, and the curses of the sage is always a blessing in disguise. So this Bakasur was named Utkal. He was a powerful son of Hayagriva. He was so powerful that he conquered all the three planetary systems and he was ruling instead of Indra. And once out of his pride, he came at the ashram of Jajali Muni, and there he was destroying the sanctity of the ashram at Ganga Sagar. So Jajali Muni he of course gave warnings before, and then he finally cursed Utkal that you become a crane because you were fishing. So you become a bakasur or you become a crane and you won't need a fishing rod to fish. You can just use your beaks. And the curse immediately took effect and Utkal's pride was crushed and he begged forgiveness. Then the sage was, then the sage said that he'll be delivered in Vaivasvata Manu by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Rajbhumi. So there came Utkal, as we see uh, in Bhagavatam 10, Canto 10, Chapter 11, text 46 onwards. We see this verse. One day, all the boys, including Krishna and Balram, each boy taking his own group of calves, brought the calves to a reservoir of water, desiring to allow them to drink. After the animals drank water, the boys drank water there also. So I'm trying to read this because, just in interest of time, this is anyway a short discussion. So we'll just go a little fast because this is just a recap also. So then, right by the reservoir, the boys saw a gigantic body resembling a mountain peak broken and struck down by a thunderbolt. They were afraid to even see such a huge living being. So we see that the Bakasur was so huge that it appeared like a mountain, and the boys got so scared. But because they had Krishna, they continued their business as usual. Now, as we discussed that this Shukdev Goswami is going very fast because he has less time. Parikshit Maharaj has less time, so he needs to finish Bhagavatam before the time of death comes for Parikshit Maharaj. So, but from Garg Samhita, we see that many demigods came to rescue or try to combat Bakasur so that he would not be able to attack Krishna. So, Indra came, Shiva, Brahma, uh, Agni Dev, Vayu, Bhadrakali, and ultimately Kartikeya. So many different demigods came and tried their best of the weapons uh, to to encounter Bakasur, but Bakasur again and again uh, was not disturbed by it, and he regained his consciousness time and again. And so finally, demigods, after Kartikeya's last attack, got scared. It's like this Bakasur is like invincible. And so they ultimately decided that only Krishna should take care of him, and they ran away from the site. And Bakasur chased them away, by his fearful form. So then, as he saw Krishna, the great bodied demon was named Bakasur. He had assumed the body of a duck with a very sharp beak. Having come there, he immediately swallowed Krishna. So then, what happened next was when Balaram and the other boys saw that Krishna had been devoured by the gigantic duck, they became almost unconscious, like senses without life. So they had so much love for Krishna, just as a mother would see her child being attacked or in danger, then she would feel so much, she would be so much afraid, and so much love would churn from her heart that she would be really panicked. The boys had so much love for Krishna that they fainted out of love for Krishna. They thought their life is gone, life air has been sucked by Bakasur, because Krishna is their life and soul. They would play, they would just, Krishna would be the center of their lives at all times. So then, Ye yathamam prapadyate tam sithe bhajamiham. So then what happened was Krishna, who was the father of Lord Brahma, but who was acting as the son of a cowherd man, became like fire, burning the root of the demon's throat, and the demon Bakasur immediately disgorged him. When the demon saw that Krishna, although having been swallowed, was unharmed, he immediately attacked Krishna again with his sharp beak. So we see that Bakasur, Krishna is very sweet. Krishna is the sweetest of the sweet. But here, because Bakasur wanted to kill Krishna, Krishna reciprocated in the same way. He he became hot like fire and started burning Bakasur. And Bakasur could not tolerate that. So he immediately spit out the Lord from his mouth. But now, when he spat out, he also had a plan. He said, because Krishna is probably not killed, I would try to bring Krishna out of my mouth, and then I would squeeze Krishna between my beak and kill him. So then, Bakasur again tried to attack the Supreme Lord. So then, Krishna, what did he do? When Krishna, the leader of the Vaishnavas, he's our Lord, the Supreme Lord, our Master. So Krishna is being referred to as the leader of the Vaishnavas. And we are discussing this pastimes because it is mentioned by our acharyas that we should discuss these different pastimes of Krishna killing different demons, because that will kill our anarthas in our heart just by listening. And we would understand it by the end of this little section of Bhagavatam. So when Krishna, the leader of the Vaishnavas, saw that the demon Bakasur, the friend of Kamsa, was endeavoring to attack him, with his arms he captured the demon by the two halves of the beak, and in the presence of all the cowherd boys, Krishna very easily bifurcated him as a child splits a blade of virana grass. By thus killing the demon, Krishna very much pleased the denizens of heaven. So here we see Krishna, just as a, just given that, how heavy is the mushroom for a child. Child picks up the mushroom, very, uproots the mushroom so easily. Similarly, this was a child's play for Krishna. Even though he's in the form of a baby's body, but he's still the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so, very easily, he took the two beaks and he bifurcated like this and killed Bakasur. So, this is a ribbon grass, the comparison or the analogies towards the ribbon grass or the Virana grass, as it is called. Krishna very easily just took how a child easily bifurcates the blade of a grass. So, that's our Supreme Lord. At that time, the celestial denizens of the higher planetary system showered Malika Pushpa, flowers grown in Nandakanan, upon Krishna, the enemy of Bakasur. They also congratulated him by sounding celestial kettle drums and conch shells and by offering prayers. Seeing this, the cowherd boys were struck with wonder. So again, the demigods were very pleased and they were celebrating Krishna's victory over Bakasur. So now what happened to the boys? Just as the senses are pacified when consciousness and life return, so when Krishna was freed from this danger, all the boys, including Balaram, thought that their life had been restored. They embraced Krishna in good consciousness, and then they collected their own calves and returned to Rajbhumi, where they declared the incident loudly. So, just as if a very dear person is admitted in the hospital and doctors say, oh, that person not going to survive, the person has 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, but somehow the person survives, how joyful we will feel when someone very beloved, maybe our child, maybe our spouse, how joyful we will be that they survived. Similarly, we have to go into sometimes you just read through these pastimes, you don't really feel the emotions behind this. But if you feel the emotions behind these pastimes, you would see or get a glimpse of what it means to love Krishna, what it is to mean to have Krishna as the life and soul of our lives. So we have to go into the deeper into these emotions. And so just imagine your loved one has revived or survived the very deadly disease or infection, then how joyful we will be. Similarly, these boys felt great joy. When the cowherd men and women heard about the killing of Bakasur in the forest, they were very much astonished. Upon seeing Krishna and hearing the story, they received Krishna very eagerly, thinking that Krishna and the other boys had returned from the mouth of death. Thus, they looked upon Krishna and the boys with silent eyes. So they were so shocked. They just didn't have any words to say. They were just so astonished, wonderstruck that they survived such a big, gigantic demon. And Krishna was almost swallowed by that demon and then came out. So they were like, when we are shocked, sometimes we will not be able to say anything. So silent eyes, not wanting to turn their eyes aside now that the boys were safe. There's so much love in Raj Bhumi. The cowherd men, headed by Nand Maharaj, began to contemplate. It is very astonishing that although this boy Krishna had many times faced many varied causes of death, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of God, it was these causes of fear that were killed instead of him. So, since the time that Krishna has been born, we saw different demons came to attack him. They changed their location just to avoid demons. They thought maybe Gokul is dangerous, so many demons are coming. But we see that after Vatsasura, Krishna again encountered Bakasura and Khadirvan. So they were very wonderstruck that Krishna has faced so many difficulties when he's just a small child, and they were actually potential causes of his death. But the plan of the plan of those demons were reversed. They were only killed. They came to kill Krishna, but they were only killed. So then, although the causes of death, the Daityas, were very fierce, they could not kill this boy Krishna. Rather, because they came to kill innocent boys, as soon as they approached, they themselves were killed. Exactly like flies attacking a fire. So we see Nand Maharaj's love. He's so overpowered by love that he's not able to see that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though Garg Muni mentioned that he's non-different from Narayan or Vishnu. But Nand Maharaj loved is so much that it is blinded. The Yogamaya's curtain is fallen so that he can perfectly express his emotions towards the Supreme Lord, his devotion towards the Supreme Lord. So he's not able to understand Krishna's Supreme Personality of Godhead. He thought it's by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that these boys are saved. The words of persons in full knowledge of Brahman never become untrue. It is very wonderful that whatever Garg Muni predicted, we are now actually experiencing in all detail. So Garg Muni had already predicted at the birth of Krishna in the cowshed, where he gave the names to the lordships, Krishna and Balaram, that they'll be encountered with many dangers. In this way, all the cowherd men headed by Nand Maharaj enjoyed topics about the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great transcendental pleasure. They could not even perceive material tribulations. So, this is again very important for us. We see when we are trying to chant the Lord's name, they're actually described as 7 obstacles to the chanting of the holy names. And one of the obstacles is actually distractions. We're mostly distracted sometimes by our external situations. Sometimes somebody would be calling us, sometimes there are things to be taken care of, or there are different kinds of anxieties externally, and there are sometimes our body is not fit. We may be sick, we may be in difficulty, our mind may not be very peaceful, it may not be very stable. So we are constantly disturbed by other living entities, by our own mind and body, by our external situations and circumstances. So that's the obstacles to chanting the holy name of the Lord purely or with attention. So therefore, there are a lot of material tribulations in our life, different kinds, different varieties. Everybody is suffering in one way or the other. But what is the solution? We just take shelter of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Just have to listen to these pastimes with rapt attention. Now, Nand Maharaj, all the Vrajvasis actually were, as long as Krishna stayed with them, they were affected by very dangerous situations. As we'll be discussing in the future sessions, also different demons, different challenges, sometimes demigods becoming angry, like Indra, like it was the flood of annihilation. But they always took pleasure in the Supreme Lord. So that's the only way out, just to take shelter of these pastimes, just to take shelter of these form of the Supreme Lord. That is our only resort. So even Kulashekar Alvar, in his prayers to the Lord, he says that the desert of material existence has exhausted me. But today I will cast aside all troubles by diving into the lake of Lord Hari and drinking freely of the abundant waters of his splendor. The lotuses in that lake are his hands and feet, and the fish are his brilliant, shining eyes. That lake water relieves all fatigue and is agitated by the waves his arms create. Its current flows deep beyond fathoming. So you see, Kulashekar Alva is very poetic, and he describes that the form of the Lord itself is a soothing lake. Just as when we are out in the sun for a long, long time, and the sun is very intense, when we come back and we take a cool water bath, we feel so relieved, so relieved. We feel so refreshed, and our body cools down. So similarly, we are all exhausted in this material world by different problems, our body, mind, external situations, the duties, the responsibilities. Just as Bhagavad Gita describes, Karshati, it's a struggle for existence. So we're all struggling in different ways. Some realize it, some don't. That is a different story. But we're all suffering in one way or the other. So then Kulashekar Alva takes shelter of the form of the Lord, and he describes that his body is beautiful body is like the lake. And what are the lotuses in that lake? Beautiful lake is also filled with lotuses. So His hands and feet are compared to the lotus, and his eyes are compared to the fish. There are fishes in the lake. And then the lake also has sometimes waves. So the waves are generated by the agitation created by the arms of the Supreme Lord. And then we all are supposed to take shelter or soothe our exhaustion by bathing in this lake. So Lord's form, name, form, qualities are non-different from each other. But because we are sadhaka, we don't really understand it. We think that they're representatives of the Supreme Lord. But they're non-different. So as we mature in our devotional service, we actually start perceiving these different form, qualities, pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So we'll read the purport. Would anybody like to read the purport for this verse? Anybody in a position to read?
Hare Krishna.
Oh,
Okay, then I'll read Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Here is an instruction about result of studying or discussing the Krishna Leelas that appear in Srimad Bhagavatam. Sadhyo hriday avarudyate tra kratbhi sushubhish tat kshanat. Bhagavatam 1.1.2. Nand Maharaj and Yashoda in Vrindavan appeared like ordinary persons of this material world, but they never felt the tribulations of this world, although they sometimes met many dangerous situations created by the demons. This is a practical example. If we follow in the footsteps of Nand Maharaj and the Gopas, we can all be happy simply by discussing the activities of Krishna. Anarthopashmam sakshad bhakti yogam adhokshaje lokas yagnato vidvams chakre satvata samhitam. Bhagavatam, first canto, 7th chapter, 6th shloka. Vyasadeva has given this literature so that everyone may understand one's transcendental position simply by discussing Bhagavad Katha. Even at the present moment, everyone everywhere can be happy and free from material tribulations by following Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no need of austerities and penances, which in this age are very difficult to perform. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore declared, Sarvatam snapo nama param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. By our Krishna conscious movement, we are trying to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam so that anyone in any part of the world can be absorbed in the Krishna consciousness movement by chanting and hearing about the activities of Krishna and be free from all material tribulations.
thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
You see here, which is very important, is that Lord Chaitanya is declaring in this verse, Shikshastram verse 1, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories to the holy names, chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So holy names are also very powerful. So for us in this age, that is the prescribed medication or prescription. And so we take the shelter of the holy names completely and try to remove whatever is unwanted from our lives and accept what is wanted. So we'll conclude this chapter by finishing this last verse of this chapter. In this way, Krishna and Balram passed their childhood age in Rajguru, engaging in activities of childish play, such as playing hide and seek, constructing a make-believe bridge on the ocean, and jumping here and there like monkeys. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 10th canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Childhood Pastimes of Krishna. So you see, Krishna is always enjoying different activities, and if we want to enter these beautiful pastimes, we have to pay the price of eagerness, intensity, intensifying our Krishna consciousness. That is the price that we have to pay to enter into these beautiful pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So we see, before we discuss or conclude this particular section and start our small section of power of prayer is that we first saw that before in the this is like the I think fifth or sixth session of our anarthas within or demons within and without. So we discussed in first session about the anartha nivritti, and we discussed why is it important, how it is lurking in our hearts, and what can we do about it. It was an introductory session. Then we discussed about Putna, who is a pseudo guru. Uh, Pseudo guru represents external or internal. External in the form of somebody acting as guru but is not guru. Guru means one who knows Krishna. And internally, it could be our mind tricking us in different ways. So if we obey our mind, as guru, then we are doomed into this material world. Then we discussed the demon Shaktasura, which represents the laxity, the baggage of bad habits, some scars, hypocrisy, cheating. And Krishna kicked Shakatasura and delivered Shakatasura. So we meditate on that pastime to annihilate the the cheating propensity, the laxity, the hypocrisy, the baggages that we may be carrying from a past life and during this lifetime that we would have accumulated. Trinavarta represents, false argumentations, trying to challenge Krishna consciousness in in different ways. So that is dry logic. That's what we don't need. That is uh, impediment in our devotional service. Then we discussed Vatsasura, which represents the immaturity or childhood behavior within our devotional life and uh, resulting cheating propensity that comes, because we're not mature, but we act as mature. And then we try to cheat people in different ways by representing different, you know, propensities that we may have desires to fulfill our own desires. So, and Bakasur that we saw last time is actually Kaitav Dharma. Now, Kaitav Dharma is also we discussed or are of many times. That Kaitav Dharma means cheating religion. So we discussed that Bhagavatam actually kills these cheating propensities or cheating religion. That is the work of Bhagavatam, to kill the cheating religions, all the cheating propensities within the religion. So sometimes you may think, oh Lord is our order supplier, or we may think, or we may aspire for liberation. Those are all cheating religion. That is not the ultimate goal of religion. Ultimate goal of religion is pure devotional service. Pure devotional service means pure love, selfless love towards Supreme Lord. So when we are aspiring, when we are thinking, I will get something by worshiping the Lord, and that is cheating. Then we pretend that we are some religionist, but we are not following anything as such. That is also cheating religion. Our goal is to accumulate puja, la, pratishta, wealth, prestige. Then that is also cheating. Then sometimes we may accept a bogus guru. We may not know the definition of guru and we may accept a bogus guru. That is also cheating religion. Sometimes guru may be qualified, but we present ourselves as qualified when we are not. So that is also cheating others. Then sometimes we may propagate some people who may not be pure in their teachings and their principles. That is also cheating religion. So all these different kinds of Ketav dharmas are kicked out by the Supreme Lord or by Srimad Bhagavatam, by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is a great impediment, as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur describes. And then Bakasura also represents hypocrisy, bad mouthing, cheating, duplicity. All these things are represented by Bakasura. So why? Because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that Bakasura, we see Baka, or the crane, they stand very still in the water until the fish comes. And as soon as they spot the fish, they would just attack the fish and take it into the mouth. So similarly, a yogi who may be standing, his hair may be disheveled, his appearance may be disheveled, may appear like in trance, but internally he's meditating. If I'm sitting for like this for 6 months, my prestige will increase, my fame will increase, and that is cheating. That's not true renunciation. So therefore, sometimes even in our devotional life, we may cheat others where we are not, but we may present ourselves as very mature, very nice devotees. But we are all battling these different anarthas in our heart. So we have to be mindful so that we can tackle it. And so we meditate on these pastimes or take shelter of the holy names or intensify our Krishna consciousness so that we can overcome these different obstacles in our devotional life. So that was about Bakasura. So what we'll do is we will take shelter of the holy names and for 10 minutes. And I would request those who can, please turn on your videos. It's just for 10 minutes. Usually when we are chanting, we are mostly distracted by our mind. The mind is so agitated at all times that it stops us from taking shelter of the holy name. But what we'll do is we'll just, and I would request that everybody also chants, of course, in muted state, because that's what we need to do. So usually when we're chanting, we are distracted. So we need to give instruction to our mind that we won't be distracted. It is for just for 10 minutes. It is also Father's Day, and Krishna is a Supreme Father. So all we can offer to Krishna is our full attention for 10 minutes and cry out to Krishna. As Prabhupada explains that we have to chant in a way that uh, that we call out to Krishna, just as a baby cries for the mother. So, the baby who cries the most gets the most attention. So, we need to cry for the Supreme Lord, because if we don't, then Krishna won't interfere in our lives. We are not allowing Krishna to enter our lives. But when we do, Krishna will easily, just as we saw, he easily bifurcated the beak of Bakasur, just as a child bifurcates a blade of grass. He easily kicked Shaktasura. He easily, just little punch on Trinavarta, and Trinavarta was gone. So just by these little interventions, Krishna can kill all these anarthas. But we have to allow Krishna to enter in our lives. So therefore, we'll chant with utmost attention, with great prayerful mood for 10 minutes in a sing-song way, of course, not like with beats, but with full attention. We should just be very, very focused, and we should have a very prayerful mood, very, very intensely prayerful mood, uh, where we are praying to the Lord to help us overcome these obstacles, to give us the gift of pure devotional service. And these different prayers can be personalized. Everybody's going through different stages of devotional service, so we can personalize our prayers and add different, Krishna please help me, Krishna please help me in this, Krishna please help me, I am undergoing this obstacle of bad mouthing or hypocrisy, or I think I'm very mature but I'm not, or I'm very proud but I don't want to be proud, Krishna, because it doesn't please you. So we can different prayers we can personalize and put our request to the Supreme Lord, and we will sing the mantra for a short while. Please sing at your end, and please turn on your videos if it's possible. It will benefit all of us greatly, because usually when we are alone, we are more or less we get distracted, but when we are together we can be more focused. And also it's a very beautiful process actually, and I usually do at my own end by myself, and it really really helps when we're really calling out, when we really instruct our mind, because Bhagavad Gita says that intelligence is superior than the mind. So mind is always agitating, but when we instruct the mind, then instruct the mind through our intelligence, then it can be controlled. And we need determination for that. So we practice determination and we practice focused chanting for some time. So I'm going to chant a little invocation, which means, O Krishna, O Gopal, O son of Nand Maharaj, O Govinda, O Yashoda, O son of Yashoda, the life and soul of gopis, the Lord of Sri Radha, Sri Radhika, please be pleased upon me. This is a beautiful prayer by Sanatana Goswami. Shri Krishna Gopal Hare Mukunda, Shri Krishna Gopal Hare Mukunda, Govinda He Nanda Kishore Krishna, Govinda He Nanda Kishore Krishna, Ha Shri Yashoda Tanaya Prasida, Ha Shri Yashoda Tanaya Prasida, Shri Ballavi Jeevanaraadhikesha, Shri Ballavi Jeevanaraadhikesha, Shri Krishna Gopal Hare Mukunda, Shri Krishna Gopal Hare Mukunda, Govinda He Nanda Kishore Krishna, He Govinda He Nanda Kishore Krishna, Ha Shri Yashoda Tanaya Prasida, Ha Shri Yashoda Tanaya Prasida, Shri Vallavi Jeevanaraadhikesha. So every time something would happen, some beautiful pastimes will take place in the Rajabhumi. All the devotees, all the gopis, all the elderly gopis, all the boys, everyone, all the animals in the Rajabhumi would just take shelter of the holy names of the Supreme Lord, no matter what. If it's a joyful situation or if it's a stressful situation, they would always call out to the Supreme Lord. Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, 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 Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. Please call out from your heart. Please call out to the Supreme Lord to give us the gift of pure devotional service. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Usually, when we're in the conditioned state of mind, we take the kirtans also very for a musical entertainment. But here we are trying to do kirtan, we are trying to really call out for the mercy of the Supreme Lord so that we can see the Supreme Lord face to face. Please, one more last time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Govinda
Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti.
Thank you so much for chanting these beautiful names of the Supreme Lord. So Haridas Thakur says to Lord Chaitanya, Prabhu tumi jivera mangala chintakari, Kali yuge nama sange swayam avatari. So Haridas Thakur is saying that, Lord, you're always anxious to do something good, auspicious for these living entities, for these conditioned souls. So in this age of Kali, you have descended in the form of the holy names, along with your own personal form as Lord Chaitanya. So, understanding that holy names are non-different from associating from Sri Krishna, we try our best to take shelter of these holy names because these are only refuge and only resort in this age of Kali. Everything that we do is dependent on our good chanting. Everything, if we are doing everything else we are doing but not chanting, then everything is useless, as as explained by our acharyas and our scriptures in this age of Kali. So thank you for taking shelter of these holy names. We will open for questions or any clarifications if required. Please ask your questions if there are any.
Hare Krishna, very, very nice lecture. Well, can you please make sure next time that you're closer to the mic? Maybe I have hearing problem or maybe it's my equipment. It was such a wonderful class, but I didn't want it to interrupt your attention. Thank you so much. Hari Bol, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Krishna, anyone has any comments? Ramya Prabhu, and want to add something or any reflections, corrections, questions, feel free to share or correct. Prabhuji, you're on mute. If you could unmute, please.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, Manjulali Devi. This is very inspiring, thank you. And a very, very nice song you are chanting. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
All glories to the esteemed brahmacharis of Radha Gopinath from Radha Gopinath temple. So, yeah.
This song, directly coming from the spiritual world, that they sing, recalling Krishna's pastimes. as they go through the day. It was very nice. Anyone can come to learn about it and chant it. It's very sweet. Anyway, I was very satisfied to hear Manjulali Devi to give such a sweet and well thought researched class on such a difficult topic. Thank you.
All guys to the senior devotees, Prabhuji, who have done the hard work. We're just trying to be like a loudspeaker, transmitting the thoughts and the information or the teachings of the acharyas transparently. Thank you so much. We'll stop here because there are no more questions. Thank you so much for your wonderful participation.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Very nice class. Sorry, my video is not working. I apologize. It was really wonderful wisdom. And as devotees, my Guru Maharaj always used to say that the best prayer we can have is to pray to Krishna, that we always remember him and always have the opportunity to render devotional service. This should be our prayer. But you rightly mentioned, we go through so many situations, obstacles in our life. I think we need to pray to Krishna also to remove the obstacles so that we can better perform the devotional service.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandal Pranam. Very wonderful Krishna Katha. You nicely explained, just summarized all the demonic qualities that we should avoid and to progress into Krishna consciousness, and wonderful prayer where we can introspect ourselves with these prayers. And as Prabhuji said, with if we can pray Krishna, so that these gets removed and we can progress. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your participation and patient listening and tolerating me.
Thank you, Prabhu. Nirbhay Prabhu wants to say something.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for the wonderful class. I just had a question that came to my mind. Like here we say that all the devotees are sitting together and chanting and talking about Krishna, and that is probably that is the best thing to do. But nowadays, as we meet different people, some are devotees, some are non-devotees. My question is that, and I think I partly know the answer, but I would like to hear from the devotees. But my doubt is my mind just telling me that I have to involve myself in some prajalpa and talking with other materialistic people, so that I can insert the Krishna consciousness part of it in the discussion whenever I can? Or should I just completely, like, we have a gathering, there are 10 people sitting. Now there will be one or two who would be interested more in Krishna Katha, and we can talk and just go separate and talk about that. Or should we sit in the, amongst the 10 people who are talking about news and general politics and this and that, and then, introduce the Krishna's name whenever we can in that discussion, is my question.
So the thing that I was taught in my journey of Krishna consciousness is that, when we try to, we think sometimes that we become part of these groups and then people will come to Krishna consciousness. Actually, it doesn't work like that for most people. For some it may, but usually the cases and scenarios that it doesn't. So we try to keep ourselves pure. And for example, we may have to go to workplace or different, we may have our own social circles because of our work or anything like that. And then we try our best to not indulge in these different talks, which are not really important to us. One thing is to have faith that if something is important, Krishna will reveal it to me. And second thing is that even if we are in a situation where we cannot avoid it like totally, we have to be there because it's an obligation or things like that, we can still be chanting Hare Krishna in our heart, or at least thinking of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. There's this devotee, he's a very strong devotee. He lives in Mayapur, and he was telling that, when he was a very like he would not have imagined himself coming to Krishna consciousness like at all. But he was in IIT Delhi, and if you want, you can watch his interview also on Tapan Mishra Prabhu at Hare Krishna TV. But he was explaining that he just didn't imagine himself coming there, but he somehow loitered into the classes of Bhakti Yoga, and it was all very scientifically presented. So, and every day, every time he would go to, take nooks into those classes, somewhere he could challenge, but he could not. It was just so perfect. But then he realized that, so he started accepting Krishna conscious philosophy. And wherever he would go, he would actually try to see everything from the perspective of Bhagavad Gita. So one thing is to intensify our reading, intensify our association with the devotees, so that we can see everything with respect to the Lord. So we can, and if somebody may be talking about, we say, news, then you can think of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur saying that the spiritual world is full of different news. Everything is happening somewhere in the spiritual world. Somewhere Krishna would be stealing butter, somewhere Krishna would be doing something else. So trying to sharpen our intelligence so that we can focus, we can bring our focus back to Krishna. That is important. And Amrendra Prabhu explained that sometimes, in some lectures or some conferences are going on and people are, babbling something, we have to be there because, it's just obligation, we need to finish certain, we have some certifications or whatever, but it's not something really important to hear for a professional life. Then we can just be chanting Hare Krishna in our heart, or, so like that, different devotees to different things. Yeah, we're in the material world. So it's not that, we can be totally aloof from everything, but we have to, as they say, devotees go for annual Kartik Yatras. So they say we're going to recharge our batteries for the whole year. So similarly, we are, we come in the association of devotees weekly, or, twice in a week or monthly, or whatever be the frequency as per our time, place, circumstances. We recharge our battery and then we sustain within the material world for whatever time we have to. And in the meantime, we intensify our reading so that our intelligence is sharp. And as we discussed, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes that the intelligence is superior than the mind. So when intelligence is sharp, then it will direct the mind to the right thoughts. And of course, whenever there's opportunity to share Krishna consciousness, we try to share because that increases our faith in the process, that increases our taste, depending upon time, place, circumstance, what kind of intention different people have, we can preach to them. Ramya Prabhu or Sridhama Prabhu, if anybody else would like to add something, you would like to add.
Just something that's perhaps obvious, we hear often, that the more our heart is full of Krishna Katha that we're hearing, then automatically it will come out whenever we're in any group of people. And, be no difficulty in sharing, because it changes our vision. It makes everything connected better with Krishna. So thank you very much for all your wonderful explanations.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Manjulali Priya and Ramya Prabhu added so nicely these. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also mentions this, that that the whole material world is like a desert, which is, desert means it's lacking the juice or the water of bhakti or Krishna consciousness. But he said, when I come back home, this as Manjulali said about recharging, I feel like spiritual oasis. So home or this setting of Krishna consciousness, where we get to freely discuss about the nectar of Bhagavatam, that's like an oasis. That's like a recharging our battery. So we certainly need that, so that we have something to go back in the desert and give. If we don't have the water ourselves, as Prabhu said, then what will we give? Then we are deprived ourselves, then we will be further deprived. So we need to have the right balance of those. So first, our own purification, having energizing ourselves, and then based on time, place, situation, yes, we have to. Krishna will give the right intelligence, the right words will come to so that we can have the right interaction to ultimately bring them to Krishna consciousness. Agreed that it will not, start with the Bhagavatam, and it should not also, because these are Guhya or transcendental topics. In like even in ISKCON, it's not that the first class a devotee attends is of like there may be few exceptions, but generally it's like the six-day course. It starts with general things. Is there a God, or is there a creator? Something generic. Mm. So we start with generic scientific explanations, and then those who are interested will take further and further, and Krishna will help. So we need to have the right balance. If we do too much of that, too much being generic, and ourselves not get nourished with Bhagavatam, with senior association, with these wonderful closed environment where we can freely discuss Krishna Katha, and be too generic, then we will get diluted. And on the other hand, our goal is not to just, oh, I'll keep reading, keep hearing, keep reading, and become a bhajna nandi. Just on my own bhajan, forget about the whole world. So right balance is required. There's no like one answer, but these are some of my thoughts from the senior Vaishnavas.
Thank you. Just one last comment that I remember is that sometimes when we go out in the material world, there are very different people. But in Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami writes, Kuyam Akhyati Prachiti. That means discussing confidential things with the devotees. So confidential things should be discussed only with the devotees. They should not be discussed with material people. That means then we're exchanging hearts with each other. So then our consciousness can become polluted. So, if we have any challenges, personal challenges, then we try to discuss with the devotees and overcome that with the help of devotees rather than exchanging ideas with the materialists, because they will give material solutions. Then our intelligence will get polluted. So that's what Rupa Goswami wants us or acharyas tell us, that Guyam Akriti Prachiti, please keep it for devotees, and rest everything in general, how are you and all that, we can, that's fine to ask. The general things are okay. Shridhama Prabhu, if you have anything to add, please.
Hare Krishna. My experience has been that whatever Nirbhay Prabhuji was saying, we all go through those kind of situation. My experience is that we should not try to snatch away somebody's current taste and preference. That always results in arguments and debate and conflict. I think we should replace that with higher taste. We should not criticize somebody. Rather, we give them Krishna consciousness. I think when there is light, the darkness will go away automatically. We don't have to make special effort to remove all the darkness. It's not going to work. The best thing is to slowly bring Krishna consciousness to our life. I think everything will go away. All the anarthas will go away. So sometimes we all get into arguments and kind of prove that, we are superiors and so on. I don't think we have to do that, because we know what we are. And just by presenting that, I think that will be more successful, I think.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to all the devotees for the wonderful answers and explanations. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I think Umesh Prabhu wants to say something.
No, I just have some question, Prabhuji. Mataji, you have explained very well. And the one point you say that we always think that let's go into the group, but groups most of the time doesn't work. But I have tried that so many times. And eventually Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita renounce order and renunciation. Okay, that's the only basically I think eventually is going to help. You have to give that tag up. Even when it's a friend, society, discussion, yes, we have to live with them, but looks like to me, is my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, unless and until you fall that renounce order, you will be just coming back to square. That's what my understanding, what you think, Mataji.
Prabhuji, can you express your comment or question again? Sorry, it was a little hard to understand. The voice was a little breaking. Can you please repeat your question?
The question is, Prabhuji, as we always think that the group will help me, and whenever we go to the party and all those things, if I bring up the topic about the Krishna consciousness, that will help the other.
You mean the material social society group? And
social society. So eventually, because if you see the chapter 18, Krishna pretty much explained the renounce order and renunciation. And unless and until we fall for that, then I don't think so we're going to looking that much advancement in ourselves. That's my understanding. Otherwise, you will be just end up doing this. We have been doing this, we will be end up doing this, and we will be just satisfied ourselves just doing this much only. But eventually you have to take that decision, is my understanding, Prabhuji. What do you think about that?
And that's Prabhuji, you are correct. There is no doubt in there. Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says asat sangtyag ei vaishnavachar. So we have to give up whatever is an impediment in our Krishna consciousness. Now, giving up does not mean, like keep a respectable distance. That's because sometimes even it could be our close friend, right? Like, I mean, I'll give you my example. Like, one of my close friend was a very, very, like an impersonalist, and I was like, really, really close friends. I mean, like, going on the bike every day, school, college, eating out, this, that. We're pretty close. Like, he would come at my home. We'll spend time studying together and doing all sorts of things. I'll go at his home. So but eventually, after coming in association of devotees, gradually, I realized that that his thoughts were affecting me. So we have to, yes, make that call. But we don't, as Sridhama Prabhu say, especially in the beginning, we don't say that. And devotees never told me that give up that company. It is a gradual progression, as Sridhama Prabhu nicely pointed out. When the light comes, the darkness will go. So whatever, either they will start taking to Krishna consciousness, or Krishna will arrange for it. If we are sincere and sincerely trying to make spiritual progress, then Krishna will keep us at a respectable distance from things which are not conducive. Yes, we have to make our endeavor also. If something is grossly wrong, for example, meat eating, intoxication, and if I say I can hang out with my friends in a bar, I will just go and drink a lemonade. Maybe one time it's fine, but if I do it regularly, then it's just a matter of time that I will start drinking. So it's a fine balance again, and we don't generally, yes, eventually you said that's correct. We have to avoid those as far as possible. If it's something really, 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 really necessary for official works or some settings, then we should be very carefully dealt. But yes, time is limited. Padam padam vipadam kamala jaladala divana thalamala. So we have to carefully invest our time in the right things. So, but it's a gradual progression, and we don't force that upon anyone. We start sharing more and more Krishna consciousness, and more philosophy, more and more bhakti, more and more loving and caring attitude, strengthening the relationship. Then, if someone is regularly attending classes, chanting, then it's pretty matter of time that all the impurities will be gone. All the bad association, they will, if they are sincere, it will go away.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Mataji.
do that.
It just has to be organic, yeah. So some people it may be easy, they can just do it, but for some people it may not be either practically possible or they're not at that stage, so it can be organic for them gradually. I mean, as long as we're sharpening our intelligence, then gradually it should come as we mature in a devotional life. So for some people it could be like, they can do it, immediately give up, or it's just doable for them. They can do it. For some people it may not be possible. So we see, and plus we cannot really quit the material world altogether, but then who will preach? So then we have to understand from that perspective also that we try to keep our Krishna consciousness strong so that we are able to preach or at least share some prasadam or different things like that. Indirectly also we can, do something for different people. The compassionate has to be there. So Nama Ruchi Jividaya Vaishnav Seva. So we have to, keep these as pillars of our Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, devotee should not be like an outcast kind of. They should not, and others should not feel that he's an outcast, because as Manjulali said, that we're a preaching mission. If someone is grossly wrong and grossly against devotees, but there are a lot of pious people, so we can be at least acquaintance, well-wishers with them. So we have room to there is some opportunities to bring them to Krishna consciousness, and we should try for that. And some will come, most will not come, but some will come.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we'll pause. Yeah, I think it's already 10:15. So thank you so much to all the worshipable devotees for your time and attention and giving your Sangha. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam Purana ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Haribol to Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Three
Krishna.
times Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Haribol, Haribol.
Devi ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mash.
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you so much. Haribol.
Very well.